massive cyberattack on CDK Global, the software provider for over 15,000 dealerships, has brought the auto industry to a halt. From Phoenix all the way to New Jersey, dealers are resorting to handwriting contracts and guessing credit worthiness. Due to the computer outage, dealers around the country have been forced to pause all transactions, and this disruption affects an industry with 1.2 trillion in sales. Will this hit the greater economy? We'll find out. All right, we are live for the Friday morning check-in, and I'm here late as always, but I want to make sure I grab some stories that's worth bringing to your attention. And so, nevertheless, I'm here looking forward to connecting. As always, won't be long before you, but just want to share with you some things that caught my attention, and always asking questions. How will today's stories and narratives impact tomorrow and beyond? And looks like a cyber event has gone on this week, and it flew under the radar for the most part. And so the question is, how will this be used to further the agenda towards that great reset? And has this impacted anybody? And is this something that is potentially a systemic type of event? Is this a domino falling over, or is this something we can all just dismiss and pay no attention to? So these are just some questions I asked myself, and so I thought I would bring it to your attention, and we'll go from there. But anyway, hope everyone's doing well. Let me know if you guys can hear me in the chat. I want to make sure that I am trying to make sure that everything is going well visually and audibly so that we can make this worth our while. And then I got too many screens up, and I'll close some things here. And but other than that, hope everyone's doing well. Let me know where you're watching from. If we have any first-time viewers, would love to acknowledge your presence and welcome you to the community. And let me make sure I'm streaming on all surfaces so that this is something worth everybody's time here. And as of right now, it looks like I might not be flowing smoothly. So let me work on some things on the back end here so I can make this worth everybody's time here. And give me 1 second here. Let me see what I did wrong, what I didn't do. All right, let me make sure this is going. All right, good people. As always, when you're running behind, you got to scramble and put things together. So bear with me 1 second. I want to make sure this is something that I can get out to as many people as possible. And it looks like my Rumble is having issues, so it doesn't surprise me one bit. But bear with me. Feel free to throw thoughts, ideas, suggestions into the chat on your side, and we will definitely try to touch on those as well. And let me see if is it probably going to be kind of difficult to maneuver on my end here. But anyway, so I'll make the best of it. So once again, unforeseen events. Oh, man, it's just, it is what it is. But anyway, welcome to the live stream, everybody. Happy Friday. Let me know what you guys got planned for this weekend, anything worthwhile. And it looks like I see some silver activity right now happening, so that's a good thing. It looks like they're trying to slam it but below that $30 mark, but it shouldn't surprise anybody, to say the least. All right, let's get into it, man. Let me check the chat. It says silver is on sale. I do believe that. Anytime it's below its gold price ratio compared to what it is has been historically, it's always cheap. And so it's not until it hits three figures above 100 will it get more into the price range of what it should be had there not been so much manipulation pressing things down. Okay, we got LBP. Good morning from Corpus Christi. How you doing, man? Appreciate everybody for blessing me. First time live and direct from DC. Uncle, how you doing, man? Appreciate you, buddy. Thanks for checking in with me. Let me know how things are going in your neck of the woods. Okay, so I don't want to waste your time as always. Get into devotional. Start off with some good news to charge your spirit man up. Then we get into some market activity. Then we'll jump into the headline story. And then I got one or two others beyond that, just painting a picture as to how distressed Main Street is. And hopefully by us being able to pay attention to the things happening to the majority for the most part, we can make plans and preparations to do the complete opposite. And so that's the goal with this channel here, to educate people on monetary literacy. If you got real money in your hands, it's less of a worry based upon the financial literacy concept that they love to push down our throats, which basically means you work hard and turn your funds over to strangers, and they put it into these risky markets, and from there try to earn some yield that's above the rate of inflation, which at this current moment, the numbers we're given of inflation of 3.123 is well below what we're actually experiencing in the real world when you go grocery shopping and when you go pump gas and when you go do all the things you need to do to live. It's well beyond that 3% CPI figure they're giving us. So got to be real careful with who and how you maneuver these days. So yeah. Okay, enough of that little rant. Let's get just some good news, man. So it looks like man. Go to click on my pages and my pages is gone. So bear with me. I got to grab the link again and go from there. Oh, man, these mornings, boy, I tell you, scrambling in the morning. I don't like scrambling in the morning. But as always, for those who are here, man, hit that thumbs up button. Show your love for the channel. And as I mentioned yesterday, for those who had a chance to plug in, it might be worth your while to unsubscribe and then rescribe again so that hopefully the algorithms notice that you're an active participant and a viewer to the channel, therefore actually notifying people like they're supposed to with their own feature. Man, it's just amazing. Anyway, okay, nevertheless, let's get into it, man. Let's get into that good news. So I'm going to start off, try to do less ranting and just get more to the nitty gritty, talk about the main subjects and keep things moving. And so if you guys can see on the screen here what I see, let me zoom in so it's more legible so everybody can see it. And yeah, so this screen here, I got to work with it here because I can't adjust it. But anyway, you guys can see what I see. Let's get into it real quick and simple. Charge your spirit, man. June 21st, it says failure. Joshua tore his clothes and fell to the earth on his face before the ark of the Lord. Joshua 7:6. And then it goes on to say, having just defeated the great city of Jericho, the Israelites prepared to take Ai, a small town that seemed easy to conquer. But the Israelite warriors had disobeyed God and had become overconfident in their own abilities. So the Lord got their attention by letting them fail in their military endeavors against Ai. It was a terrible blow, but it reminded them of their dependence on God. Of course, there's a vast difference between failing and being a failure. A person only becomes a failure if he or she stops trying altogether. But being unsuccessful in an incident can actually prove to be the greatest stepping stone to success in your life if you will turn your attention to God, as Joshua did after the defeat at Ai. So it says, friend, your failure today can actually serve to make you a success tomorrow if you're willing to acknowledge your mistakes and learn from the Father. Therefore, thank him for getting your attention, forgiving you, teaching you to respond properly, and be assured by doing so, you pave the way to future victories. And then the closing prayer here, if I can get to it, it says, Father, thank you for keeping my pride from inhibiting your purposes. Help me honor you in all things. Amen. Amen. So hopefully that was something to get you to ponder this morning, to meditate on the activities that took place thousands of years ago that man still has a trouble learning from. You can't do it without God. Put God in the middle of it, and you have a much better chance at succeeding than if you try to remove him out and do it your own. It ain't going to work that way. It might look good, but then again, the fruit that comes from that won't be long lasting. All right. Just a little good news for this morning, man. Hopefully that was a good little something for you. All right. Oh, man, let me get back on the horse here. Okay, so for those who are plugging in, man, lots of interesting things unfolding. But before I get into the primary stories, trying to figure out how to ways to get these resources to people so people can be informed as to what this show is all about, and my continuous desire to just educate through resources as well as visual aids, infographics, resources. And it all boils down to taking possession of what you believe is yours. And the whole idea of getting your weight up, which I'm going to continue to harp, just because, once this manipulation in the markets with this paper future stuff breaks, ain't no going back to normal. And so I want to have as many people as I can in the right position to be able to withstand the times that are coming our way, financially speaking, spiritually speaking, physically speaking, you name it. So with that being the case, let me get into it, man. So right here, we have the dollar IQ. 10 quick questions make a world of difference to get you started on your monetary journey. See, as you can see here, it says, test your dollar IQ, see how well you know the dollar, and then start your journey to monetary literacy. Links in the description to check that out. So if you have taken it, pass it along on your socials and see where your friends and family stand. Hopefully that get their wheels turning and realizing they don't know some things, and perhaps they need to log in with us. And then next, I want to make sure I encourage people to get a hold of this instrument here. This is a monetary literacy cheat sheet, which is from 1792 all the way up to, I believe, 2030 is the way I position it when the CBDCs are officially here. It gives people a journey to understand the dollar itself. So download the monetary report, study the history, and learn what you weren't taught in school with this sheet here. I think this is the most comprehensive piece of work I put together that pretty much puts all 10 years of my work in one form. So check it out. Links in the description. Next, if you are plugged in, you're aware and awake, now it's time to look for opportunities outside the natural, or not the natural, but outside of the conventional wisdom that's given to us. So this is the download, the crisis reports, and it's an alternative perspective on events that would be of interest to you, and you'll be a part of the email list. So if you're interested and get notified when things are released, join the email list here, and you'll be able to plug in on a regular basis. That link is also in the description. And then last, I want to make sure, not last, but rather, the Silver Team is what I'm really trying to promote. And my goal is to reach 1,000 households. And so far, we got people signing up. So big shout outs to your people. But the goal is to help you automate your silver accumulation. Also, in putting yourself on a silver standard to where you can just automate and put it aside, not worry about it, go about your life, and just use that as one of hopefully a couple different mediums that you use to get your weight up. So links in the description. Feel free to click the video, find out all the information you need, and then join us. And definitely, it's a way to reach more people with very little effort, because all you got to do is just stack yourself and then share your own link to other people so you benefit as well as others. And it's serves a good cause as well. So check it out. Links in the description. And then lastly, if you've done all those steps or something considerable, now it's time to really consider what you've already worked for in the form of your retirement, your 401ks, and all those other instruments that you put your hard-earned money into. Here is an opportunity with Colonial's Metals Group for you to be able to put it in metals in a self-directed IRA and take possession of it yourself and protect and preserve your purchasing power on your own terms. So call the experts here. The information is in this description here, but you can get all the information you need to take advantage of this opportunity. So links in the description, people. And that is the opportunity that I have for you guys today. Okay. Well, all that out the way now, let's get into some other things that's happening right now. So might as well check some market activity. And then we'll get into the primary news story, man, and see what happens with it. And looks like I'm shining a little bit here, but forgive that. I put a little bacitration, cut myself when I was shaving. So got that little gleam, made it look like my Mike's nose is running. No, it's just a little oil, a little grease. But I noticed it's shining under the light. So I want to make sure you guys know that I'm up here just, my nose is running. A little something funny. Okay, let's get into it, man. Let's get into it. Let's get into it. It's Friday, people, and it's feeling good right now. Okay, so right now, as I speak, I refresh this page. It looks like there's been a change in silver. It looks like silver's down 93 cents, if I'm not mistaken. And I wish I can zoom in more so that you can see what I see. Oh, that's a little bit too much. Oh, no, that's about right. Okay, that's about right. Let me get myself on the screen here. Okay, so silver, $29.75. So they got it below $30. They couldn't let it stay above 30. Gold is $2,330. They couldn't afford to let silver continue to climb. And so with gold being at 23.31, and if you look at the activity here, if you just look at that there, that's not a natural occurrence. Like outside of the manipulation, who actually wakes up in the morning and be like, you know what? I think I'm going to just slam the price of gold down. And so that it makes it unattractive. And so it started off at $2,367, and then they got it down literally. So at $820, boom, it went down to $2,332. So what is that? $4 difference, $5 difference? But that graph makes it look a lot bigger than what it really is. Okay, and then next, let's look at silver real quick, because once again, I'm really excited, man, to be able to really find ways to expand the reach of this channel by putting information in people's hands and then providing them an option to do something that is effortless at that with the silver team. So yeah, it really got my juices flowing. Anyway, so silver, $29.72. And just look at that. Like in a world of all this debt, you would think more people would want to get involved with silver and dry this up. But if they don't know that silver and gold are historically proven to be true, tried and tested ways to protect themselves for your own government, then people will do it. But most don't know. Just because when you look at a screen, you see green or you see a red or you see a number that goes up when your check get deposited, you're like, oh, I'm getting money. It ain't yours. It's the banks. They're letting you use it. And they're getting interest off of your stuff and paying you, 0.001% if you're in a regular banking account. But now they got these risky, non-bank banks that are offering more yields than actual banks with these online apps like what is it, QuickBooks offer more yield than a bank. And so it's just anyway, but we see from looks like here $30 7:55 this morning, bam, we got the slam down. And then, so here we are at 10 o'clock and it climbed back up. So we'll see how it finishes today. But yeah, just something worth paying attention to. Don't really mean nothing. But once again, manipulation is your friend if you take advantage of it. And it also looks like crypto is not doing the best, man. Something's happening. And so all this euphoria, all this excitement, with Michael Saylor buying the world up, and they still can't get the price above the all-time high, but it's hovering around 64. And so clearly something is going to break, more likely down first before it shoots off. But once again, this is a way of speculating and really being able to double, triple, quadruple your silver or gold stack by taking advantage of opportunities according to the way they want this system to go. So just a little something there. And as I refresh this to see if what we're looking at right as of now, S&P 500 sector performance, I think this is a better way of just gauging this morning's activity. And so, this red ain't no joke. And so as of right now, there's a lot of red out here, people. And that's all in the bottom of this here. So we got real estate is down, industrials, materials, financials, insurance, banks, diversified financials, and IT are all opening at a little opening the markets down this morning. So once again, I'm sure we can look and see all the players. Let's look and see what the players are looking like, who's doing what, just for the sake of looking. It's entertaining. And so Nvidia, listen to this, the entire U.S. economy right now hinges on Nvidia continue to surpass all-time highs. And the moment Nvidia is proven to be a bubble of bubbles, what's the next move the Fed gonna do? We're gonna find out. So it looks like Nvidia is down 4.24%. Yeah, that's not good for the main honcho of our economy, but it is what it is. So let's get into the primary news story, man. Don't waste any more of your time. This is what you're here for, and some good fellowship and good kicking it opportunities with your boy Mike out of the D. Okay, so here's something that really caught my attention this morning because I'm thinking like, okay, knowing that cyber events and cyber polygon and all types of things are a part of the game plan at some capacity. I haven't heard much about cyber events, but then this could have swept by this week and nobody really talked about it because it wasn't any leading stories from what I saw. And so I'm like, let me go ahead and just dive into it and see what I can see and put some speculation on top of it and see how things unfold. More than likely to be nothing. But once again, to me, it just goes to show how the interconnectedness of the entire financial structure through the internet is always at risk. Because in my opinion, there's no perfect type or model for cybersecurity. So everything ultimately is vulnerable. And that's why, like in this world where we're heading towards solely digital and everything being hosted on someone else's server and you needing the top of the line encryption to protect all this, is like, man, something's bound to fail all the time. And it threatens our economy. And so the auto industry is a $1.2 trillion. They did it last year. And this week, they didn't do some business because of a cyber event. So imagine if this hit the banking sector. Imagine this was a banking sector to where 3 or 4 days the banks shut down because they couldn't log on, or one of the key encryption companies that secures all the banks went down, or it'd be a lot of noise going on. You would definitely hear about that. Everybody be logging in right now, but what's going on? So anyway, real quick. Let's get into it. So cyber dealer, car dealers across U.S. halt services after a cyber attack. Then it says here, thousands of car dealerships were ground to a halt during a normally busy holiday Wednesday by a cyber incident at the CDK Global, a major software provider for dealers across the U.S. It says the company shut all system downs and executed extensive testing and consulted with external third-party experts. So the question is, what led this CDK company to need to shut down all services? That is a question that we will never find out about. And because I'm not even familiar with CDK, I had to just pull it up to see what CDK is all about. And literally just real quick here for those who may not be familiar with CDK. I'm sure a majority of us are not. But here's CDK.com. And of course, it's good to say they probably didn't put any news updates on their website, but creating connections that move automotive retail. And so here we have time to roll out summer sales, service sectors, what they offer, dealership experiences, digital retail, finance and insurance, uh, dealer management systems. So, like, this whole operation here is literally a huge software network on their servers, more than likely. And clearly, something happened this week. Yeah, something happened this week. And so let's find out more. It says here, Tony, CDK spokesman, says the company's core product, a dealer management system, and its digital retailing solutions have been restored, and CDK is testing all of their applications and will provide updates as bringing them back online. Okay, here's a different story. Let me get this one here. Where's the other story at? Let me see. Here you go. No, give me 1 second here. There's a different story that tells some of a different story. Let me grab that one. Give me 1 second here, good people. Good people. Here's a different story that tells something else. And this story here comments on the same thing, but it was today. And that other one was yesterday. And so let's find out what we got here. So this is from Bloomberg this morning. And let's just thumb through this real quick here. See what their narrative is. Car dealers chaos arises from Cyberattack on 1.2 trillion. 1.2 trillion. Let's see what we got here. It says a dealership in Phoenix. So this gives a little story as to how the actual dealers had to improvise during this computer outage, which took it back to the old school where you had to actually pull out books and ledgers and pens and notepads. And out of sheer desperation, not wanting to lose business, you just did everything by hand. It says a dealership in Phoenix, Arizona, handwriting paper contracts. Let me get this. Let me see here. Handwriting paper contracts, engaging creditworthiness with guesswork. Imagine having to guess based upon when somebody walked through the door what type of car they pull up in already. A Jeep owner in Alabama keeps calling about when a replacement part will be in stock. A family in New Jersey is waiting for a word on when they can get delivered their Audi. Such is the life of auto retailers and their customers across the U.S. and Canada after CDK Global, a software provider, 15,000 was waylaid by debilitating cyber attacks. Well, the debarrage began on June 19th. So literally, this was 2 days ago it started. Okay, so they were warned second on Thursday is likely to keep his system down for several more days. So the article yesterday says someone's back online, and then the article this morning says that there's several more days where they may be offline. So, what's going on, people? It says attacks have crippling effect on the industry that topped 1.2 trillion in sales last year just in the U.S. CDK's core product, a suite of software tools referred to as dealership management tools or deals, underpins virtually every element of auto retailers' day-to-day business. Okay, so I'm going to leave it with that. I'm not going to bore you no more with that, but let's just think through that for a minute. Okay, so we have a cyber company that basically is the head honcho for all the retail car dealerships around the country, 15,000 plus right now, making some adjustments. And my question I put out there earlier was, imagine if this same type of event that's unknown, we'll never find out what happened other than just cyber attack, but it could be a ransom situation. It could be like malware. We don't know. If this was to grow and continue on beyond this couple of days, as they said, it will make headline news come Saturday, Sunday, Monday because of the domino effects. And so you're going to have cars piling up. You're going to have people not being able to get their transactions. And it's more than likely it's going to impact like the repair shops. And then you have a continuous gluttony of cars coming from manufacturers, which are already piling up because we talked about this earlier this week. I think it was about how manufacturing here in the big three are making major adjustments because people aren't buying cars right now. So this is just a car sector, but it's an indicator of the bigger picture as to how, because of the debt, which impacts the currency, because of the interest rates that the Fed sets, it's leading to all these dominoes starting to fall, and the auto retail sector and this cyber event, in a way, can all be interlinked. And so what if this was a bank? What if this was a bank? This would be headline news. Russia did it. China, they're coming after us. You know how the narratives are. But anyway, so did anybody get impacted by this? So we got any car dealership owners out here, people working at a car dealership? Let me know if anything like this is hindered business or perhaps even helped business. So just something worthwhile there. Okay, so we looks like somebody's checking in with me here. It says we've been down since Wednesday. Heart Tunes TV. It says we were writing things down. What else we got here? It says we still offline at Kia. So it looks like one of the community members at Kia saying things are not going well. Uh, Let me see. What do you say here? I'm a tech if affecting the whole dealership. Well, Hearts, man. Yeah, keep us posted with that one just because it's been down since Wednesday. And the first article I read said that things are back up. But then according to what you're saying, if that's the case and they're not up, and then this article Friday says it could be a couple more days. So this could be their way of trying to keep this under the radar so that more people don't find out about it and begin questioning what's happening in the retail space. Because mind you, if everything in our economy is confidence driven, all it takes is a little bit of concern or caution or scare to be put out, whether it be through alternative media or just like, for example, if my man at a Kia dealership, did some FaceTime, like, yeah, dealership Cyberattack, dealership's down, we can't log in, we got to handwrite stuff, we got to, Hart, if you did a video and you put it out there on social media and people shared it, like, oh man, dealerships are down, what's going on? That stuff goes viral. That out there is a narrative that they can't control immediately. Then they got to scramble to try to cover that up. And yeah, so, yeah, man. But okay, so that's just one story. Something to keep an eye on, perhaps. But we'll find out if it's still going by Monday. You might hear about it on your regular news channel. Okay, but that's not it. So I want to talk a little bit about what's happening in Main Street, man, with the Main Street economy. And this, I talked about this a while ago, but once again, because credit card usage has become a source of income for people, stories like this definitely, get me to thinking, like, wow, like buy now, pay later, whatever. It says why buy now, pay later debt could become a problem for the U.S. economy. It already is a problem. But then again, it's a product line that was created by investors and non-banks. This is all driven by non-banks, and that's the biggest problem. We talked about this before, where you have these VCs and these big money, big guys getting into the financial game because you don't have to have a lot of the accreditations that banks have and FDIC and all that stuff like that. So they're able to offer these loans like predatory lending and charge astronomical rates on the back end because that's legal. Like, it's like if I was a shady guy and I had $1 million, $2 billion sitting around, I'll open up a buy now, pay later. Because more than likely, if a person can't pay their debt, you're just going to write it off and then turn it over to a credit agency. And then you'll get something back. You'll get back more than you actually lent that person in time. So it's just, man, usury, man. That's what the Bible says. Every 7 years, forgive debt so that it doesn't pile up. And so when you have compounding debt, it only just ruins people's lives. But anyway, real quick here. It says, let me just zoom in so you guys can see what I see because this is kind of small. But this is just what's happening in Main Street, man. It says buy now, pay later options are becoming more accessible to customers. A quarter of Americans surveyed in April 24 said that they used buy now, pay later in the last 12 months. It says the number of buy now, pay later loans increased nearly 1,100% between 2019 and 2022, according to data compiled by the CFPB. It says the rapid growth has some analysts concerned because where there are loans, there is debt, but exactly how much debt is still unclear. And so, as I mentioned, this is a growing concern because the debt that's being piled up are off bank balance sheet activities. These are private companies, small venture firms, and they're causing all this debt to be piled up. And the regulators and the people who watch and chart and track debt, they don't have access to keep track of that. So not only do we have the commercial bank real estate issues and stuff like that on the too big to fail and the regional commercial and all stuff like that, the credit unions, but then you have a whole nother industry coming up now of private off books, off balance sheet debt that will make its way back into the banking sector because more than likely a lot of that capital that's in this private sector is held at these banks here. So anyway, it's all interconnected. Just interesting. It says a December 23 report from Wells Fargo concluded that the buy now, pay later market may be small now, but if we don't know how fast it's growing, it logically follows that we simply cannot know when it will become a problem. And as I mentioned, Wells Fargo can't see the amount of debt been taken out there. So they're concerned with their own behinds. Like, what if the problems from these small non-bank, they're not in the boys club. These are people who don't get a chance to go to Bilderberg with us and all that stuff like that. Is what they're thinking. Then they can impact us. So they're only concerned with their ability to manipulate the system, not these little guys over here getting crumbs off buy now, pay later schemes. But when it's up 1,100%, it's no longer minor, it's major. Okay. But that's not it. Let's take a look at our government, man. How incompetent, corrupt our government is. And just look at these figures. I got 2 articles here talking about the figures that have been put into the system, into private industry hands, and it produces absolutely nothing. But then again, our national debt continues to just like clockwork. 7.5 billion in government cash only built 8. I can count on one finger, on 2 hands. 8 EV chargers in 2.5 years. And so from day one, when this whatever, so let me find. Did they tell us? Yes, in 2021, the infrastructure investment. So literally, in 2000, Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act included. So this is one of them little small earmarks, little pork that's in the bottom of that. It's probably like a 1,000-page document where the total tab for the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act was probably 1.9 trillion. Let me see where this takes me. Okay, so the investment in structure. So let me see what. So we got all the programs that this was under: federal aid, highways, surface transportation. We have reservation of certain funds and project delivery, and so all these things here is what I want us. Indian affairs, research and technology, and education. So out of all these, this is what. So think about this. I'm at the very top of this page. But this is all the things included. And as I keep scrolling, this thing is, let me see, it's how many pages is this? This is how many pages is this bill? Does it tell how many pages it is? All meetings. So clearly, let me see here. How many pages? I'm curious to see, because this is like some stuff that was mentioned on here. But anyway, so I can keep scrolling with this as well. This is a summary of that 1,000 pages or so. But my point is, this is what they allocated funds to because of like the desire to keep the monetary system going. And they call this growth. Investing in our country is growth, and it's taxpayer funded. But then again, taxpayer revenue's down, so it's deficit spending. But then it's sent out into the system, 7.5 billion, and they built 8 chargers. So that's what? That's 990, or let's about say $900 million per charger. And so whoever took that contract or contracts, they're sitting good right now with no accountability from nobody else, because it's government spending. And if the agencies are corrupt, the government's corrupt, all the financial entities and auditors, and they're corrupt. So it's like, wow, like somebody out here living good right now off of money that your great grandkids will have to somehow figure out how they're gonna pay back. Okay, but I'm not gonna read anymore. I just touches a nerve. But it don't stop there, because when it's unlimited credit card that you can swipe because nobody asks questions, why not do more? Not a single American has received Biden's high-speed internet despite $42.5 billion funding in 2021. So here we are now, approaching another presidential election, and $42.5 billion was spent for internet, because everybody can't be left behind. Everybody needs internet. Ain't nobody got internet yet, according to this here. And so here's Brendan Carr from a couple days ago. FCC says in 2021, Biden administration put $42.5 billion in Congress to deploy high-speed internet to millions of Americans. Oops. It says, meanwhile, Biden admin has been layering a partisan political agenda on top of his $42.5 billion program, a liberal wish list that has nothing to do with connecting Americans. So climate change mandates, tech biases, DEI requirements, favoring government-run networks, and more. So this is this guy calling out. He's calling out the Biden administration for putting 42.5 aside for their internet and then trying to lump in all those agendas to get those funds. So it's good to say those funds, all these agendas, climate change mandates, tech biases, DEI requirements, those funds are probably put into the hands of people who are doing those things. And then they might get some type of internet connection in their neighborhoods. Okay, yeah, it's just stuff to just really make you think. Okay, what else we got here? Let me see here. There's a couple stories that caught my attention on Twitter. And so let me bring them to your attention because I noticed that Elon Musk talked about Twitter being the most used medium for news, which it for the most part has. So some things that concern me. Let's get into it real quick. The Idaho water situation. And so here we have a little video put out. This was shared by Wall Street Apes, but this video here does a good job of talking about these farmers did a 11-minute video describing how systemic this event in Idaho could be for the globe, because they're talking about, or watch the thing, they're talking about 500,000 acres or something like that, which is a good chunk of the state, is being told to shut off water because they're running low on water for the reserves and whatever. But then I saw another video of a gentleman doing some research. He said that there's a uranium and natural energy contract that's starting mining in Idaho, and they need the water that would go towards feeding America through our farms, but they're rerouting that water to these mining industry people who probably are in the pockets of all the people in DC and everything like that. So clearly a lot of corruption is going on here. But what these good gentlemen are saying is they got 3 fields that, make up a good portion of their properties. And they're saying that if these crops don't get watered in this season and beyond, that the food won't make it to the stores in their region, but then the logistics will shut down. Food won't make it across country. Then all the wheat and stuff like that they're planting goes also to other countries. So literally, it's going to be a supply crunch of food. But then again, we've seen more and more stories where there's been multiple reasons why they don't want us to eat real food, because they want to give us this processed bug protein crap. But once again, these events, man, it's no way that you can't pay attention to this, because this impacts the future nutrients you may or may not be getting. So having some food on deck is another way to protect yourself. Okay, so here's another something from a little crypto guy, but it makes sense. And I did a video the other day about liquidity. That's inevitable. And so here he put a graph that, kind of makes sense, because it follows some trends and some trends based upon previous amounts of liquidity unleashed. And each one of these waves in the dark blue represent a surge in liquidity, more likely as a result of Fed funds rates dropping or some type of event. So we know the most recent, we know this most recent, the last dark blue line here was the 2020 shut down the world. And now let's cut it back on and pump out 5 trillion. So this last surge is 5 trillion. And then here we got around 2013-14, we got all the tarps and all that extra stuff being brought out, QE1, QE2, QE3. And then here, 0809, we know what happened around 808. Oh, you hit this last one here, you know what happened about around, the GFC is this surge. And then here we got the .com, so the market's tanked down here in the far blue. And then they came in with some liquidity, dropped interest rates, told everybody you have to own a house or you're not American, all that stuff like that. So each top in the dark blue is a crisis. And so what they're predicting based upon the current trajectory, with this last little blip that's starting to come up right here, they're saying by 2025, 2026, based upon trend, booms and busts, that there may be a large flood of liquidity either before this gray line that's already peaking here or after this gray line. But no matter what, they're going to flood. They're going to flood the whistle. They're going to flood the world. Now, for those who, once again, that's a crisis to those who are not tuned in right now and know what is coming. But for those who are tuned in and realize what has to take place in some form or fashion, when they cut the spigot on and it floods the world, that liquidity will completely destroy savings, investments, retirements, because it'll be banking, real estate. It'll be some type of event that'll get everybody's attention. And then the response will be they will flood the world trying to reinflate everything. And there'll be certain pockets that'll get more liquidity than the others, because by that time, most people will realize it's a systemic global event and they're going to be racing to safety. Now, I look at it this way. So this is a little rant as I'm thinking. There's going to be different layers of wealth preservation mechanisms. And I consider, of course, the last one, the one that'll be exciting, but it won't be as exciting because it'll just be the result of a dying currency. So the very last surge in an asset will be the result of a dying currency, and that's gold and silver at the very end. But before we get to that end point, is what is where the opportunities lies. And so you have, just off the top of my head, from what that's why I say the crypto sector, digital assets have been positioned strategically here to distract and divert and to absorb liquidity. So it's going to be a recipient of a lot of this liquidity. So the right projects, right time, right place will be beneficiary for those who speculate. And then you're going to have the miners. Then you're going to have, let me think of some other things that the world needs, and that are so literally, as we go from, if this is a gap here, we go from non-fungible stuff that's computer based, we go to real world things, and then the last one being gold and silver. So it's a matter of filling in these gaps here, and in my opinion, putting some things aside in these categories here, while making sure you stack your gold and silver, because that is insurance against everything else. If everything else fails, you still have something that you can hold at the very end of all this, and that's your own personal reserves in metals. And to let you know what's at stake, let me give you a visual aid real quick. And this is a little something extra, but I think the best example of this would be the John Exter pyramid. Because as the house of cards come falling down, everything will fall down, and the debris will pile up on top of the most valuable and most let me see if I can find it. Okay, so just for, let me see. I don't want to use that one. Bear with me one second. I think this is some interesting information I'm be sharing with you guys. And I've mentioned this before, but then again, you never know who might be new to the fold. So I want to make sure everybody understands. Okay, so I'll just use this, I'm sure. Okay, so let me just bring this up here. So John Exter Pyramid, former Federal Reserve banker / truth teller in a sense, lived in the 50s, 60s. Anyway, so this is a pyramid that basically encapsulates risk, with the riskiest at the top all the way to the bottom. So as I was trying to describe, you got this time, or this areas of opportunities that leads to gold and silver. If gold and silver is the very bottom, as you guys can see, we got the digital stuff they try to distract us with first. It's, cryptos will go way 10 times higher than metals initially, because that's what they want. Then you got miners, and miners produce real world goods, not even just gold and silver miners, but miners that produce commodities, rare minerals, earth minerals, whatever, natural minerals, whatever. Then you got some other sectors above that. And so as the dominoes fall, derivatives implode. We have a sovereign debt issue, the housing market, the financial sector, and then government bonds, and then your currency fails right before you get to the very last most important asset, which is gold. And then at the very tip of this, which is not on this chart here, is silver. And so literally in that order of events, things will probably play out most likely. And what that means is you want to have a comfortable position at the end, which is at the bottom of the pyramid, which is silver, and then gold, of course, because that's a greater wealth absorption tool. And then if you want to play and work on accumulating more of that at the end, then you can dip and dabble up here up front. So coming up with a strategy that works for you according to your budget and where you're at with your financial knowledge and everything else is a way to look at what's happening now. And I say all that to basically say things are already occurring now. We're already in a recession, and the recession is taking place within a reset. Everything is resetting around us. And the reason I can say that is because every single country is working on the same thing at the same time. Digital IDs, CBDCs, they have the narrative of the climate stuff. They have the model of build back better. So they're building back better, and everything is happening inside. So their goal is to have everything in place when we get to the recession part. And the recession part, like the response and their solution will be more government intervention, more flood liquidity, but the liquidity will come through their new digital protocols they're putting together, which it will be CBDCs. So based upon that, it's quite evident where you want to probably position yourself, hopefully ahead of time, to not be a victim, but be someone who's able to take advantage of the manipulation. So that's my long-winded rant there, but hopefully you guys kind of see where and what I'm talking about. And just once again, trying to get it ahead of the curve to position yourself for your family's sake is what this is about, your posterity. Okay, but that's enough for my rant. I can go on forever, but I'm not. The day must go on, and everybody has a chance to make Friday the best Friday of their lives. And I will try to do that myself. So, as always, for those who are plugged in, man, I appreciate you for blessing me with your time. If you have not, definitely hit that thumbs up button, show your love for the channel, and hopefully more people are notified. And then also, as I mentioned, like, share, hit the bell notification, and all around me, I have all the resources and tools in the description. And a lot of my forward thinking comes from knowing history. You know what I'm saying? Like, knowing the evolution of our currency lets me know that it was inevitable that they would run out of the ability to continue to use a debt-based system and still have a last remaining tangible item in the form of a paper note. That has to go in order for them to accomplish their goals. So check them out. And then most importantly, join the Silver Team. This is, I believe, a practical, simple way for you to automate your wealth accumulation, create your own silver standard, and just let it do what it do, and then help others do the same. It's all about reach one, teach one, reach one, people. But anyway, that's all she wrote. All the information you need is down below. Hope you enjoyed this rant. If you found value, hit the thumbs up. Take this video, take some clips out of it if you like, put it out there so people can find out what's going on. This is all my opinion, but for those who've been around for a while, you kind of see that I ain't always right, but I'm closer to being right than I am wrong most of the time. So